week you guys have an assignment, two of them that have to do with lit term and transition terms or transition words. I just want to kind of go over a little bit about each of them really quick, and I can give you a little bit more detail next week. We'll see how you guys are doing. The literary terms, they're mainly for this class because every class has a language. You think about it. If you're taking a computer course, the specific language like browser, mouse. If you're taking a science course, there's all kinds of terminology that you would use in a science course or a science environment. Well, for our course, because it's English and literature, we also have a language. In your writing, specifically in your papers, I want you to get into the habit of using literary terms. Literary terms are things like words like metaphor, symbolism, conflict, plot, climax, things like that. I want you to get into the habit of using them in your papers. They enhance your papers. They help your writing. They help me understand that you know how to use our literature language in the papers, and also expresses your understanding of how these authors and writers use this language in their work without maybe using they're not going to say this is imagery. You're going to see the imagery, and when you're writing your papers, you want to tell me an example of imagery would be when this author did blah blah blah. So I want you to get into the habit of using literary terms in your paper. It's important. Each of your papers, you have a minimum of 5 literary terms I must see in all the papers. When we get closer to the paper, of course, I'll remind you of that. And those are literary terms. Now, transition words and transition in between paragraphs are critically important for every single English student. And here's why. When you're writing your papers, you want to make sure you have a flow. When you're flowing from one paragraph to the other, you want to make sure that when your reader is reading it, they don't get confused. Some of you may have heard the term choppy or jumpy. That means if it's in a paper, something's choppy or jumpy, it means you go from one topic to the other without smoothly transitioning. If I'm talking to you about literary terms in one paragraph, I'm talking to you about transition words in one paragraph, I need to be able to keep them together, not in one giant paragraph, but when I'm done talking about literary terms, I must transition to transition words. So it goes beyond just the words, the transition words themselves. And you'll have a whole list I'm going to put on D2L for you. It goes beyond that. You want to make sure that your paragraphs flow together. The biggest issue I find in a lot of 1102 papers are people jumping from one paragraph to the other, to the other, to the other, and they're just chopping it all up. It's not smooth. So again, let's go back to my first example. If I'm talking about literary terms in one paragraph, at the end of that paragraph, I should mention transition words. So if I'm done talking about literary terms, I may end it by saying, good literary terms enhance a paper. In addition to that, we need to focus on transition words. My next paragraph is going to be about what? Transition words. So then when I get to the next paragraph, it's smooth. I'm not jumping from one topic to the other. I'm not being choppy. I'm not confusing my reader. They know what I'm getting ready to talk about. You don't have to do it in the last sentence if you don't want to. I think it's better that way so that when you have a new paragraph, you've already transitioned. It's clear. You can start over brand new. It's a new paragraph. Some people transition in the first paragraph, in the first sentence in the next paragraph, but you can too. It's just my preference that I would end the paragraph with the transition sentence, and then I start the new paragraph with what I ended it with. That way my reader isn't confused, and I have a stronger paper overall. And I want you to read this and practice it. I take a look at the handouts in this week's lesson, and I'm going to add a little bit more next week if anyone has any more trouble. All right, that is it for the week. We are good. I will check in on you guys probably in a couple of days. Keep looking out for more lectures, and I will talk to you soon.